Slowly but surely we are starting to travel again, and next week I'm off to Iceland. So I thought, how about a quick update on travelling with drones and what equipment I take when going on a road trip. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and as I said, I'm getting all my gear ready for a couple of weeks road trip going up to Iceland. I've been to Iceland before. Last time I went though was in the middle of winter, plenty of sub-zero temperatures, snow and ice, and a fair few northern lights. But of course in winter most of the northern part of the island is cut off, which is where we're heading to this time. So no chance of seeing any northern lights this time, as it's 24-hour daylight, and along the north of the island the sun is only setting for around half an hour, around 1 AM. And of course this time there's also an added bit of fun with the volcano that's been rumbling away for a few months. I do of course want to get a couple of aerial shots of the lava and the crater if possible. So anyway, that's the plan for the road trip. Here's the gear that I'm going to be taking, and this is what you have to do when you're going on holiday basically. First off, you want to be checking the rules of where you're heading to. Many cases you're going to need to register your drone in advance of wherever it is that you're heading to. Sadly, despite adapting the EASA rules, the UK operator and flyer ID is not valid in other EASA countries yet, although I'm hoping that's going to be changing soon. But anyway, certainly at the moment, go online, check what the rules are and for registration in the country that you're going to. Anyway, for the kit that I'm taking, this trip I'm going to be on the road an awful lot. I'm going to easily be running out of battery, so being able to charge in the car for me is absolutely key. Now, some of my models do have 12-volt car chargers, whilst for others I'm simply going to be taking this little gadget. It's a little 12-volt to mains adapter, so I can then plug in the normal mains adapter into the car and charge on the go. It's fairly low power, so you can normally get away with using those. Obviously you want to be using them when the car engine is running though. And of course, charging the batteries, the remote, your phone and God knows what else, you are going to run out of 12-volt outlets. I also take along one of these, which is just a little 12-volt splitter. I think it was Homer Simpson who said you can never have enough 12-volt outlets in your car. But look, onto the drones that I'm going to be taking. As I said, this time I want to do some flying over the volcano itself, and they are not the greatest things to be flying close to. So for that I'm going to be using the trusty Mavic 2 Pro and also the original Mini. Now look, Mini 1 is almost in the league of semi-disposable. If it gets too close to the crater, then so be it. I'm hoping that will not happen for the 2 Pro, and obviously I should get some decent 4K footage and some excellent stills. Ultimately, I wouldn't be too upset if the 2 Pro got a little bit too close. It's kind of 3 years old and due for replacement this year anyway, but that is not the plan. The plan is to get up close and personal using the Mini 1, and hopefully they'll all come home. Yeah, let's see what happens. But the other drone I'll be taking for everyday use is the trusty Air 2S. This is now my main drone for the time being, and I genuinely do not want any damage with steam, smoke or ash or anything. So won't be using the Air 2S over the volcano. That will be for the rest of the road trip. All of these models that I bought are the combo models, so they all came with plenty of spare batteries, and the Air 2S of course uses the same batteries as the original Air 2, so I'm actually taking 6 batteries for the Air 2S, so I really doubt I'll be running out of power for that. But of course, talking about batteries, good idea to check with your airline, specifically the hazardous items page on their website. That'll tell you what their particular restrictions are for flying with lithium batteries. Almost all airlines will allow you to take them, but almost all airlines require you to carry them in carry-on luggage. Some will allow the drone with battery into checked luggage and only spares to be taken on as hand luggage. Some others may restrict the number of spares you can take, especially if they're over 100 watt hours. But all the DJI folding drone batteries, the Mavics and the like, all of those batteries are well below 100 watt hours. So but anyway, either way, check with the airline, check on the hazardous items page, and you will normally see an area dedicated to traveling with lithium batteries. Some people do use lipo safe bags. Personally, I don't. I do have quite a bit of faith in the DJI intelligent batteries. They tend to be pretty good, and they're good at looking after themselves and have practically no chance of shorting out. But ultimately, very much your choice. Now, I said my drones were combo models, so they also came with their own carry case, and I do prefer to use those over any large hard cases. I know the hard cases are going to provide a bit better protection, but I want to be reducing the size and bulk of everything. That said, I'll be playing with this little beast from PGY Tech. This is a hard waterproof case. I'll be playing with that when I get back from Iceland, but for now, certainly, like I said, I want to try and keep space to an absolute minimum. So using the cases to their maximum, stuffing various bits in socks if anything, just to keep them from scratching. But anyway, yeah, keeping the size down as low as I can. So that's the drones, and in fairness, most people are only going to be taking one model with them, but there are some other things to keep in mind. First off, micro SD cards. Now, I've got a link to the cards that I use. You need to have very high write speed. You can never have too many SD cards, and 4K memory is going to absolutely eat up memory and storage in your laptop in no time. So keep a few spare cards in your case for when you forget the SD card in the laptop from the night before. Also get yourself some USB flash drives as well. You keep some small ones that you can leave in the charger all the time, in your laptop all the time. Or you can get larger ones. I've got this one here from Transcend. Very fast read and write speed. So if you're transferring 4 or 5 gig files, then you're not going to be waiting all night. But like I said, you can never have enough storage and SD cards when you're on holiday, so go well stocked up with that if I were you. Now, I tend to back up the files in more than one place, on the laptop and also on a flash drive as well each night, so that I can then safely delete the files from the SD card. The very last thing you want is the full card message halfway through a flight. And I do try and download the files every single night as well, just in case the worst happens and you do lose your drone in the ocean or a volcano or whatever, then at least you have got the previous day's files and you haven't lost all of your happy holiday memories. Laptops, another thing as well. Remember, most laptops are going to struggle to display 4K video unless they've got a dedicated graphics card and they actually state that they're built for 4K. But even so, it's useful to take a little laptop on holiday with you, because then they're very useful for moving files off cards, for storing stuff, transferring to USB flash drives, and of course looking at pictures. So yeah, if you've got a little laptop, bring that along. Now, when I'm on a major filming trip, I also take a spare phone to use as the drone screen. It keeps things, I find, a little bit easier. If you're using your main phone, well, as a phone or sat-nav in the car, it's quite nice to have a separate dedicated screen for your drones. Also want to remember that if you do lose your phone, you're going to lose your ability to film and take decent photos with your drone. So look, I know that some people might think it's a little bit of overkill, but if you have got a spare old phone, take it along. You might find it useful, and hopefully, like I said, you won't lose your phone, but if you do, you've got a spare backup to run your drones with. Now, I also take the Osmo Action and the Osmo Pocket still with me. The Pocket is smaller, of course, and it takes amazing panoramic time lapses where you can actually scan across the skies. But obviously the Osmo Action is, I find, far more useful for every day. It's waterproof, it's shockproof, and it's still got great electronic stabilization, and it can also do time lapse. It's just it can't do the panning with the time lapse. But different tools for different jobs. But I do find the Osmo Action is certainly the more usable of the small cameras. Now, if you're doing time lapses, they need tripods. You can get away with a lot of decent mini tripods if you're just going to plonk it on a little table to do a time lapse or something. Obviously, you've got the bigger tripod that the camera is sitting on now that I can keep in the when you're driving around with the car. And finally, of course, power banks. Power banks, haven't got it with me now. I find a power bank or two is always useful, charging things on the go. Sometimes you can actually be using, if you're doing a time lapse with this, you can plug the power bank in to make sure it doesn't run out of battery if you're doing a 3-4 hour time lapse. Either way, power bank, always useful, I find. And finally, when taking all of this kit, remember the golden rule. For me, enjoy the view. Take in the memories. don't spend the whole time worrying about whether your battery is charged and whether or not you're getting that perfect shot. I have to say, it's a brutal fact that we actually probably use around just 5% of the footage that we film, and we look back on these photos probably once in a blue moon, but what's inside your head hopefully will last forever. So great to take videos and photos. Just remember to stand back, take it all in, and just smile once in a while. Anyway, look, that's all I wanted to cover today. Very quick video. I've had to cope with dogs fighting madly all over the place here, so if you can hear them, I'm sorry. But look, hopefully as you start your travels, you're going to find some of these tips useful. Drop me a comment below on your thoughts, whether or not you're traveling, thoughts about volcanoes, where I should fly, what I should do. Weather is a bit hit and miss, to say the least, in Iceland. I am hoping to get some decent footage, so look out for that in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, Ding the Dong, get notified. You can also check out some of my channel membership options for a bit more behind the scenes stuff, and monthly Zoom beers with Ted and myself. Anyway, look, hope you are enjoying the better weather and the longer daylight, and look, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, until next time, have fun, happy flying.